So she who delivers a man from the 80 causes of death. And these 80 causes of death, no, we didn't know that there were 80 causes of death. As such, one is scary. So these 80 are divided into two types. The two types are Pasha and Vadha. There are 28 kinds of Pashas for a person. And there are 28 kinds of Vadhas. And there are 52 kinds of Pashas, or the knots of avidya. Pasham is something that we are addicted to, or the avidya that brings us down. So there is a list of all of these pashas. What I'm planning to do is just to give you a sample. No, we'll do the lokokti nyaya, so we'll just give you, I'll give you a couple examples of Vadha and Pasha, and then we'll move on to the next nama.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So we got disconnected when you said para and apara, and we have to go anti-clockwise to connect with her.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's the first meaning. Now we are looking at a second meaning for this anadi nidhana. Okay, it means there is this book called Vararuchi, which actually describes a different meaning for anadi nidhana. Nadi means 8, in which there are two words, right? Na means 0 and da means 8. In Sanskritam, there is this rule when we talk about, say, for example, 15, we say Panchadasha, 5 comes first and 1 comes later. So, essentially, though it says Nadi 0 and 8, it is 80, the way, we use numbering in Sanskritam. So, what does this 80 represent? So, this book explains it as the mother delivers a man from the 80 causes of death. So there are two types of these, 80. What are the 80 causes? There are two types. There are 52 pashas and there are 28 vadhas. So 52 pashas are something like avidya, or there are so many upadana, kala, bhagya, etc., etc. So there is a whole list of these pashas and vadhas. So mother moves us, makes us go beyond these 80 kinds of vadhas. Therefore she is anadhi nidhana. There is a beautiful explanation of what these 80 are. So just due to time constraints, I'm not going to go into that. I'll just provide some examples in the forum, so we can move to the next nama, which is important also. 297 is Hari Brahmendra Sevita. So she, the one who is attended by Hari, Brahma and Indra is the nama. So here I wanted to show you what Bhaskara Raya explains. I'll just read the first couple lines. It will start becoming confusing. So what I wanted to do is to share a PowerPoint presentation that I would have created a few months ago. That is interesting, so I'll share that. Let's just go through this first couple lines now. In the Sri Chakra or Sri Nagara, you remember, long time ago we talked about Sri Nagara in the early parts, I think 18th or 20th shloka. Sumeru Shrunga Madhyastha Shriman Nagara Nayika. She is the ruler of Shriman Nagaram. So in the Sri Chakram or Sri Nagaram, in the center, where there are 25 valayas or compound walls, in which is the Chintamani Griham. So in these 25 enclosures that are available, between the 17th and 18th enclosures is seated Vishnu. Between the 16th and 17th is Brahma. Between 14th and 15th is Indra. So Bhaskara Raya is giving those names. Somebody is not on mute. And there are Lokapalakas. So everyone is around in the individual enclosures. So Devi Bhagavatam says Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Indra, Varuna, Yama, Vayu, Agni, Kubera, Tvashta, Pusha, Ashwini, Devatas, Bhagas, Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Vishve Devas, Marutganas, all of them meditate on Devi, the cause of creation, preservation, and destruction. Everybody needs to meditate on their own Shakti in order to perform their activities. Nobody can go, like, just live without the Shakti or without praying to the mother. With this context of the enclosures, I thought I'd just walk you through the Srinagaram, if only this allows me to share. If the network connection is bad, when we can do it next week. Let's see. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. Can you see it?
Able to see.
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay. I won't go into presentation mode. Otherwise, I would not have access to some tools here. Okay. So, Srinagaram, think about around Srinagaram. Towards east, there are, like, for take this as northwest, north, south, east, west, just like how we see on the map, right? Here, the first in the front, in this position called C, is Brahma, and in this position called D is Vishnu, and in the position called E is Shiva. So before anybody enters Srinagaram or to pray to the mother, they have to do a pradakshina connecting all of the forms of the Trimurtis, and then they have to enter through east. How it is explained. And as one enters, there is an iron fort, and there's a lot of open space in right after one crosses the iron fort, and it's called as the Vriskha Mahodhyana. There are so many different kinds of trees. There's a huge palaces among all the different palaces, lots of fragrant flowers. There are birds. So the way they describe it is like, there are peacocks dancing, the brahmaras or the bees are just buzzing around. There are so many colorful flowers, and there are lakes and swans. So I just put in what are the descriptions individually into a visual format. In this area is Mahakala and Bhadrakali. So one does the darshanam of Mahakala, Bhadrakali, and then move into the next enclosure. Second enclosure is called as the Bronze Fort, which is and then once you cross the Bronze Fort and there is open space, and this place is called as the Kalpaka Vatika. Kalpaka vrikshas, as everybody knows, are desire, wish fulfilling trees. So there are long rivers, and there are the kalpa vrikshas everywhere, and this is to do with spring, and there is like a lot more deeper connotation to why spring and etc. So in the spring you see lots of these colorful flowers, birds and butterflies buzzing, flying everywhere. And here Vasanta Ridhanatha is the deity, and he with his two consorts Madhu Shri and Madhava Shri. Their astras, their weapons, are made up of flowers. So the person who is moving into Srinagaram towards the mother prays to the Vasanta Ridhanatha and his consorts, and we move past into the next enclosure. The next enclosure is called as the Copper Fort, and there is open space once you cross that fort, and we are entering into the Chandana Vatika, the sandalwood. And here also there are like buzzing bees and doves, and this is related to summer. So here Grishma Ritunatha is the deity with his consorts Shukrashri and Suchishri. After passing through this, we go into the lead fort. We pass that, go past that, and there is open space, and we enter into Harichandanam. Harichandanam is the yellow sandalwood. Harichandana Vatika, and there you see cuckoos, and you hear the cuckoo sounds, and it is related to the monsoon season, the Varsha Ritu. Therefore, the deity here is Varsha Ritunatha with his consorts Nabhashri and Nabhasyashri. Later, you pass into Brass Fort, and there is open space. Now we enter into Mandara Vatika, the coral tree. Here there is fragrance, lots of fragrance, and this is related to autumn. So here Sharad Ritunatha, Ishasri and Urjasri are the deities in this enclosure. And we move into Panchaloha Fort. There is an open space, and this is full of Parijata Vatika. Everybody knows Parijata. Again, this is another wish-fulfilling trees. So there are large crimson flowers, but I put in the picture of what we call as Parijatam. But the heavenly Parijatam is large crimson flowers. And here there are lots of clouds and mountains and the kind of scenery that you see here, and lots of fragrance. This is pre-winter, Hemanta Rutu, and you still hear lots of cuckoo birds singing. Here, Hemanta Ritunatha, Sahasri and Sahasyashri are the deities. Then we move into Silver Fort. When we go past the Silver Fort, you see thick forest, kind of lots of trees, coniferous trees in the area. This is called as the Kadamba Vipina Vatika. Here there is red honey that flows as waterfalls, and there are Kadamba flowers. Mother loves these Kadamba flowers, and if you remember way back when we were talking initially, there was Kadamba flowers that came into picture in the earlier namas, and when we were doing the 64 Chatusashti Upacharas, this is one of those flowers that was listed in the Upacharas. So lots of pollen in that area, and there are bees buzzing, fragrant, beautiful, and it is winter time. So the deity there is Shishira Rutunatha with his consorts Tapashri and Tapasyashri. And just before the Gold Fort, there is a huge palace, and there are golden steps to that huge palace. And there is a huge hall that is built with rubies and gem-studded throne. And if everybody remembers, this is Mother Rajamatangi. So it is her palace. She lives there. And we know Rajamatangi, she helps in attaining supernatural, like the Ashtasiddhis, and eradicates all the evil influences. She represents the mantra siddhis are because of Rajamatangi. She also is called as Mantrini because she is the minister for Lalitambika. And her chakram is called as the Geya chakram. So I have a picture of that here. And lots of other all the things that we have previously talked about Rajamatangi in the earlier shlokas. If you go back to, I think, 25, 26, 27 is where we were talking about them, Ashwarudha, Mantrini, and Varahi. So this is where Varahi, Mother Mantrini lives. And then we enter the Gold Fort, and there is an open space. So here there are so many siddhas who are singing praise of the mother, and they're well lit, from the radiance of those siddhas, the whole area is bright and radiant. And they are chanting mother's Panchadasi mantra, Shodasi mantra, or Shivoham. They're doing Mahavakyas. There's lots of singing of praises is happening. And they, the way it is described is, we get goosebumps and our hair stands, romanchita, when we enter into this area. So once we go past that, we move into, so we salute to those siddhas, and we move into the next fort called Pushyaraga Fort. So Pushyaragam, I think now we will see all the 9 gems. Here we call as charanas. Charanas are very purified from all of their sins, and they are taking care of the maintaining Srinagaram. So they are all there, and they have given, like, they are surrendered to Mother with complete Sharanagati. And here it's also is explained on what is the significance of Pushyaraga. This gives wealth, and it is related to Buddha or Brihaspati. And then we enter into Padmaraga Fort. Here there is lots of open space once you pass that, and here Vatukas are chanting Vedam, and they are learning and practicing their Vedam. Yoginis are attending to goddess Durga, and here the deity is Sankarshini, and we've also previously talked about who Sankarshini, Mother Sankarshini is. So that's where her temple is, or her palace is. Then we move into Gomedaka Fort. Here there are, like, apsaras like the Urvashi and Rambha. They are here dancing for the mother. There are nice ponds and lakes and rivers, swans, and this so there are, like, Vajra, the invisible rivulet, thundering sound. There is this river called as Vajra. But think about this, Vajra is a nadi, and I won't go into the nadi specifics in this session, as we will run out of time. So this is related to Vajra nadi, and there are nada. When we go into nada rupa, we will talk about different kinds of nadas. There is thundering sound in this area, and the mother here is Mother Vajreshi, and she is adorned with various diamond ornaments. So Indra is worshipping Mother Vajreshi in this place. And think, this Gomedaka, the effect of the importance of significance of Gomedaka is it alleviates the evil effects of Rahu, and is believed to be by wearing this gem, one will get rid of all sins. Then the next one is Vajramani. This is the white sapphire fort that glitters, like, with blinding lights. So you go in, you have to close your eyes as you're walking through. And here there are the Ashtakula Nagas. There are palaces for all the Ashtakula Nagas, and like the Nagas names are here. We always thought about Ashtanagas, but think about here are the names: Anantashesha, Vasuki, Takshaka, Karkotaka, Shankaphala, Gulika, Padma, and Mahapadma are the Ashtanagas. And here are Bali Chakravarti and other devoted demons. They are all in this open space after Vajramani Fort. And we move into Vaidurya, Cat's Eye Fort. And here there is, like, after you move past that, there is an open space with lots of palaces. And here, Manu, Bharata, etc. All of the Dharmic, the people who did Dharma Samsthapanam, they are in this area just before, and the Dharma Samsthapanam. Yeah. So now we are moving past that, and just before we go into the next fort, there is Mother Goddess Shatodari. Shatodari is some, like, we've also Shatodari Shantimati. We have seen that Nama as well in the past. I won't go into full detail. So they are doing yajna for Mother Shatodari there. And then go into Indranila Fort, and here there's a lot of wealth, lots of houses, like, it's such a rich place with so many colorful trees and lots of beautiful flowers that are also so many colors. And here continuously you're hearing the sound of the Omkara, and there are so many palaces in this place. And Indranila is the significance of this stone is that it alleviates any evil effects of Shanishwara. And here there are Ashtadikpalakas, and there is more description of Ashtadikpalakas, who their consorts are, what their vahanas are, and what their ayudhas are, etc. is given here. And lots more detailed way of explaining. For example, Varuna presides over immortality. So Vayu, just look at this, like Vayu's consorts are Sushumna, Ida, Pingala. We've also seen what these are in the past. Chitrareka, for example, is like Kubera's wife. And so lives among great yogis like Goraksha, bestows spiritual knowledge. All of this is in the description of Manidvipam. When we go into the Pearl Fort, and we go past that Pearl Fort, and we see these big, like, trees, the palm trees. From there are golden vessels that are tied to those, the fruits of these palm trees. From there, the nectar is collected into these golden vessels. And we go past in further, we walk further. And just before we hit the next fort, which is the Marakata Fort, we see the palace for Mother Varahi. So here, everybody knows Varahi's description, so I won't go into a detail there. So her chakram is called as the Kiri Chakra. So that's here. And here's where we'll see the Sahasra. This is the 100-pillar temple. And there is, like, golden throne where Mother Varahi sits, and there's a description of her. So she is surrounded by Swapneshi, Andhini, Rundhini, Jambini, Mohini, Stambini. This is, like, part from the Mother Varahi's mantra. And then she is surrounded by the Ashtabhairavas with their consorts. If you remember, we just recently talked about the Ashtabhairavas. Their names are given here. Okay, next we move past, after we pray to Mother Varahi, we are moving into the Marakata Fort. Here we see Brahma. So this is where, the Bhaskara Raya's explanation now it makes sense or connects to you the specific Nama that we are talking about, where Brahma is situated, and Marakatam is this green emerald. So he is of the complexion as if, like, milk and saffron are combined together, and there is a significance for milk and saffron. So during Mother's puja, we do what's called as the Vishesharghyam, and Vishesharghyam is a combination of milk and saffron. So here's where that comes into picture with some cardamom in it, and I also add pepper. So this is given as description and has deeper meanings beyond this. Okay, next is the Vidruma Fort, and which is Vidruma means corals. Here's where you will see Bhagavan, Vishnu, and Lakshmi of the three Murtis, and he's he's wearing the tamala tree, like, his complexion is like that. And even from a distance, you can see his radiance. He's wearing his kundalas, and which are reflecting from his cheeks. That's how it is explained. His lips are red in color. He is always smiling, like we know he's the Shantamurti. His face appears like a moon. He's the Kasturi Tilakam. He's wearing the Champaka Mala. He's wearing a Tulasi Mala. And he is, like, he is with mother there. And then we move past, after we pray to Lord Vishnu, we move past and we reach the Navaratna Fort. Here there are, like, you see lots of mountains with peaks that are snow-filled peaks. There is the golden palaces, and then there is the Sahasranama Mandapa. There's a 1,000-pillared temple here, and lots of flower gardens and big huge palaces. And in this place we see Rudra and Bhavani with their Nandi, Bringi, and Rudraganas are all it is their location. Once we pray to Rudra and Bhavani, we move into the Manomaya Fort. So this one, and after you pass that, go after that open space, there is lustrous red everywhere, and this is called as the Amrita Vapika. So here there is Mother Tara. Tara is in Buddhist tradition, she is the Shakti, she is the mother that is prayed by the Buddhists, but Tara is a Devata from the Vedas. So here Tara Devi is Sindhura Patalangi is her name. She is pinkish red in color. She wears moon and she's always smiling. So there are, like, there are golden lotuses, and there's lots of description, as you can see. And we pray to Mother Tara, and then we go past that to Vignyana Fort, and there is, like, open space, and this is called as the Ananda Vapika. lake of bliss, full of nectar. There is a boat that is in which is seated Amriteshi. She's also called as the Varuni. Varuni is also a Nadi. She has compassionate eyes, and she has, like, these shining ornaments, and bestows spiritual knowledge to know more about, Mother Lalita. And Varuni Nadi is controlled by breath, and there are ways to do that. So if this nadi is under control, one never feels tired. This is how sages actually use a lot of this for doing longer meditations. And go past this, we go into the fort of ego. And there is open space. Malaya Pavamana is what it is called as, and or Vimarsha Vapika, both the two names for this. And here also you'll see lots of mountains. There's a lot of breeze, so many birds and flowers and fragrances. And there's there's a red boat in a little pond. And here's where is, the Kurukulla Devi is in this location. And the way they describe it, like her eyebrows shame Manmata's bow. Sorry, this is mistake. This is Manmata's bow. She's always smiling pleasantly, and she's wearing like these ruby earrings. So Kurukula Devi dwells in Sri Chakra between the boundaries of ego and consciousness, is how it's explained. And moving past, I think I might need another 5 or 6 minutes, if you don't mind. I don't want to stop here after reaching this far. Then there is Bhanu Prakaram, Sun Fort, and here there is Martanda Bhairava with his consorts, Chakshushmati, the faculty of sight, and Chaya Devi, shadow. And he's wearing like those red garlands. Everything is red in this here, and with the golden lotuses in this Prakaram. And then there is Chandra Fort. Here's the place is very cool, and it's pure white in color. There are so many stars, and of course Chandra is surrounded by his 27 consorts, the nakshatras. Then there is a deep trench after you pass these 25 enclosures, and in this there are like golden boats that are in this trench, in this moat. The golden boat is like, studded with all sorts of gems. And here you will also see Urvashi and Menaka are also here. And here's where Manmadha lives. Manmadha is one of those, if you remember from the number of devotees of the first set of devotees of Mother, Manmatha is one of those first set, like the trendsetters in the Mother's devotion. So he is here in this moat. Now, as you go past these, like, this is where, I don't know if you're seeing my mouse. This blue line is that moat that we were just talking about. As you go past that moat, we enter the Srinagara Fort, which is filled with gold and gems. And then we enter the Chintamani Prakaram. Prakaram is also called an enclosure, or Chintamani Griham is where we are entering. And here where we have Mahapadmatavi, which is the tropical garden in the front, and to the left are the herbs and flower plants, and to the right there is huge lotus pond. Very tall trees are here, and then you passed, and this is where we actually I won't go into the details here. I'll go past. So once you passed, go past Mahapadmatavi, then you will see Bhuvaneshwari Mother here. She is representative of the Mantra Yoga. Then if you go take a pradakshina, go to Dakshina Kali is here, and who represents Bhakti Yoga. Then you go past, and on the top here, I don't know if are you able to see my mouse? Am I making sense?
Yeah,
yes,
we can see it.
Okay. So here is Mother Kubjika, who represents Tantra Yoga. And you come down all the way here. There is Guhya Kali, who represents Jnana Yoga. So you go in, and now you're taking a second pradakshina. Here on the left, you see Varahi Devi's palace, or her temple, and then Matangi Devi's palace, or Raja Matangi's palace. So here's where Chidagni Kundam is described. If you remember Chidagni Kundam from the early, I think the first or the first shloka or the second shloka, we learned about Chidagni Kundam is from where the mother Lalitambika or Lalita Parameshwari has emerged. And then you go past that, there is Chakra Rajaratha, which is nothing but the Sri Chakram. And then you go past that is Geya Chakram, Geya Chakra Ratha, which is Mother Rajamatangi's Chakra. And then there is a Kiri Chakra Ratha, which is the Varahi, Mother's Varahi's Chakra. And then you go into Chintamani Griham. And if you remember in the Chintamani Griham, there is the Manimaya Mahapadma Asanam that has 4 legs. I don't have a slide for that, but we all know, you will see.
Yeah, Guruji.
Lalita Parameshwari with the image, the mother. Yeah, we'll take this one. So this comes up as you enter into Chintamani Gruham with the Manimaya Mahasimhasanam, where you will see in front of the Simhasanam are Ganesha and Kartikeya, Subramanya, and the the way we describe it is a little different when we do the arrangement. Where you have Ganapati, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishvara, and as the 4 pillars for the Simhasanam, and Sadashiva works as the plank, and mother is seated on top of that. And we have 2 more descriptions that says, like, there is a Talpam, and there is a Mahapadhanam, which is like, there is a mattress that is made of, like, the softest satins, and then there is a pillow, and then Mahamaya Yavanikayai Namaha is what we say. The Maya, Mahamaya works as the fans that is, like, endowed or used by the mothers of knowledge and wealth, and that's how the whole description works. Shri Matre Namaha.
That's amazing, Sriji. So that's a great tour you took us on this Mother's Day.
That's what, it is the connections, right? Like, and I was thinking about where do I fit this. This was done a few months ago, but I did not find the proper connection for it. So today we were doing the Bhuvaneshwari and Hari Brahmendra Sevita. So I was just looking at, and this occurred to me, like, 5 minutes before the class, between our 9:45 and 10. I was just going through this Nama, and as soon as Bhaskara Raya explains it, like, between 17th and 18th walls, I said, how am I going to explain that? So I have to pull up my PowerPoint.
Gigi, is it too much
Thank you
to
for
ask?
sharing this.
Is it too much to ask to share these slides in our thing?
I'm
in
a bit
our-
protective about this because
Okay.
this is not available anywhere else.
Okay.
I went through the text, so it's kind of I need to IP protect it a little bit before I can share it broadly. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's okay. But can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Somehow I missed between 18th and 20th.
18th and
Yeah,
20th.
me too, Guruji. I was also
Navaratna and
thinking
Manomaya.
Did I not
between
have
Navaratna, yeah.
here? Yeah, Navaratna, I think that I might have missed writing the proper numbers here, so I will correct those.
Yeah, I think the numbers you missed, Sriji.
Yeah, I
You
think
put
I
217.
Oh, did
17
I?
2 times, yeah. I was
Okay.
looking for it, and then so then
Okay.
18, 19, and 20. That's how it comes. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just go and correct it, and if there is anything that I find that I might have missed, I'll share it in the forum.
Thank you, Sriji. Can you post the Dhyana Sloka for Bhuvaneshwari?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Sriji, just a question. All these many forts and Sri Lalita Tripura Sundari, where exactly is this? On Earth or sky or space? Where?
So if you go back to the Nama, Sumeru Shringa Madhyastha Shrimannagara Nayika Chintamani Grihantastha Pancha Brahmasanastita. Go back to Shloka 22. So this is in the Sumeru Shringa Madhyastham, in the middle Shringam of the Mount Meru. Sumeru.
So
And
is Sumeru the Sushumna Nadi, Shriji, or is
yes,
there
so if you
something else?
remember, every one of these has, there is the Nama Vaibhava, where we talk just about the Nama, Rupa Vaibhava, the form of the mother. We were just describing the forms of mother. Each of these have relation to nadis. Each of these have relation to mantras. There is a mantra Vaibhava, Chakra Vaibhava, Puja Vaibhava. There are so many to this. So even when we talk about these 25 enclosures, these 25 enclosures are connected to the 25 tattvas. If anybody remembers the tattvas, the pancha jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, pancha bhutas, tanmatras, there, you have 20 there, and the 4 antakarana, which is chittam, manas, manobuddhyankara chitta, and the 25th tattvam is the shiva tattvam, the suddha tattvam. So that's where you find mother. Did that make sense?
But
So
if
each of these are
Srinagar is
connected.
Sri Chakra, sorry, if
So what's
Srinagar
that?
is Sri Chakra and Sri Chakra is in our body, then this exists in our body?
Everything exists in our body. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pray outside, or you can pray as external Sri Chakram, or you can pray to all of this as internal, which is the most effective because you're now working within the body and awakening the mother.
Shriji, the Sumeru Parvatam, where is that? Where will that be?
So if you go back to that, I think I'll have to find which video that would have been in. I described it in detail in the for that those namas. I'll find that video for you.
Okay.
Ji,
Like we have, sorry, like we had Dwaraka, we have, Ayodhya, we have these places like that, right, from the Puranam. So like that, I was just looking at where Sumeru Parvatam will be.
So you can stock it and take it as being on the Kailasha mountain. There is the peaks of Kailasha mountain, but it is taken as the center of all galaxies. It is not somewhere on Earth or somewhere. You can take it as the 51 Shakti Peethas. But the way this is the center of everything that exists in this universe. And there is no one specific location that's called Sumeru or the Simhasanam or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
So I just noticed that my numbering was wrong. So after 18 Navaratna Fort, 19 is Manomaya, 20th is Vignyana. 25th would be when we go into so when I shared this, I'm going to reshare one more time. I just corrected the numbers on my slides. So the Chintamani Prakaram is the 25th fort. I didn't have a very specific number for that, right? There is a deep trench is the 24th and Chintamani Prakaram is the 25th.
So Sriji, 18 is Navaratna, 19 is Manonmaya, then 20 is Bliss Ananda. Right?
Yeah,
Maya
so
Lake.
18 is Navaratna, 19 is Manomaya, 20th is Vignyana. So now think about these and koshas, Vignyana, all of those, right? And then 21 is the fort of ego, is what we said, is Ahankara. And then you get into Bhanu Prakaram and Chandra Prakaram as 22, 23, which is related to the Surya Mandalam, Chandra Mandalam, Agni Mandalam we were talking about. Think about those and make those connections. And then the 24th will be the moat.
Oh, okay.
I hope
Very
everybody
beautiful, Sriji. It's like resounding with your own body as you're telling. I'm just connecting, and I think in our body, with all these nadis and all the points. Very amazing. Thank you so much.
I'd like to see it again in the recording. Very nice.
Sriji, just one question, Sriji. There was a boat in last few slides, like a red boat in the slides. What was that representing, Sriji?
So let me go back to that. I know which
Like
one
a
you're
small
talking.
yacht or something like that.
Yeah, there are boats that are given, like, this represents travel, actually, all the boats,
Okay.
and there are many kinds of boats, right, that were given, like, some are golden boats and some are red
Yes, yes.
boats.
Mhm.
So let me just reopen the presentation. So there are golden boats here. Are you talking about this? Vajreshi,
Like
Kurkula,
that
and
entire
then
red one. Yeah.
yeah, so it is Mother Kurukulla, and as she was talking about, pond is the storehouse of nectar that flows into the throat during Kundalini meditation. This is Kurukulla Devi. It's the travel is usually represented by boat, and even here you have red boats, and this is for Mother Varuni.
Thank you.
So one of my projects is actually connecting these to the Nadi Shastram and trying to just make connections. I worked with somebody, a professor who worked on this. So I have collected some more information, just trying to make sense of all of this on the deeper aspects.
And Shriji, when you say it is all within our body, that we are talking about the microcosm, right? It is still within the macrocosm also in the same pattern.
Exactly. That's what
Okay.
I mean by, like, the Rupa Vaibhava is when you think of Mother Vigraham, when they do Prana Pratishtas in the temples, a lot of these are, the mantras actually speak to these things. So we are activating, it is not just purely Vigraham, and somebody shared that, I think Satiji shared that video with us on what is the importance of a Vigraham and why are we praying to granite temples, right? In the granite temples for these Vigrahas. So there is the Rupa Vaibhava, there is a Nama. Each Nama, when we are chanting, whether it is Lalita Sahasranamam, whether it is Vishnu Sahasranamam, there is so much depth in each of these. So I always suggest, when we are chanting, just chant it well and chant it with, meditative way. I personally can do this so many times, like chanting it in 10 minutes is what I do. But just knowing the meanings and knowing the depth, I think just that devotion as we are chanting, that helps Anahata Chakram to open. And when you're chanting with, like, the Mahapranas especially, they are known to shake the fluoride deposits in the Anahata Chakra for the Adhara, and that activates. So when you're chanting, just bring these into picture. These are not for memorizing, and when I say, like, 24th Prakaram, what is it? I personally don't feel that is the importance of these things. What's important is for us to know that this has a lot more deeper connections and activating those deeper connections.
Shriti, when you're saying chanting, is the chanting of the Lalita Sahasranamam, right? Or something else?
Anything.
Okay. Oh, you're talking. Okay.
Just generally, when we are chanting, just being extremely careful with how we chant and doing it the correct way. Like, chanting with our mind and body and soul into it. Technical chanting, good technical chanting is important, but at the same time, doing it meditatively, doing it, with meaning, with understanding of what it is important, is what I personally feel.
I do that too, Shriji. And when I finish Lalita Sahasranam, I feel like I came back from some other.
Yeah, exactly. That's the feeling that you should be coming out of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
Thank you so much, Shriji.
Awesome. So we'll conclude here. I've taken up 48 more minutes. Sorry, 18 more minutes. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Sarvam Sri Paradevata Arpanamastu. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch
Thank
up
you
next week.
so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank you
much,
so much,
Shriji.
Guruji.
An
Amazing.
amazing
Thank you
session.
so much,
Yes.
Guruji.
Dhanyavada. Thank you,
Dhanyavadaha,
Guruji.
namaskaraha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Best mothers day
Dhanyavad.
gift.